What's going on, YouTube? The Last Musketeer here, coming at you with the next part of the Epic 7 free-to-play series. So as I'm unlocking Arrowell's specialty change in the background, I'm going to talk for a second because it's important for me to get this through, because I feel like I have been neglecting Epic 7 a lot more than I would like to. The thing about it is I love this game and I don't want it to be put on the back burner as far as content. I just have so many different things I'm trying to do at the same time that it's very hard for me to do a lot of the Epic 7 content. So really I show a lot of clearing and a lot of other things and talk about some new events and whatnot through this video, but I haven't been able to really progress my heroes the way that I want to. So the main thing that I need to say to people that enjoy the Epic 7 videos, I will be trying to put forth as much effort as I can as soon as I can get the 7 Deadly Sins and the Neural Cloud series done, because I will be starting a new series, but I'm cutting it down to one at a time basically. So potentially two, because Arknights probably will go on longer than the normal length of the series, just because there is so much that I have to do and so much that I haven't got to talk about. But I will be treating Epic 7 in the future much more like Arknights, where I'm putting out a lot more videos, a lot more content. It's just, there's so much to do in this game, and especially when it comes to leveling up heroes and building teams, especially for Arena, it takes a lot of time to do that. There's a lot of grinding involved, a lot of getting new gear, and right now, between the 4 different videos and series that I'm working on, it's just, there's not enough time for it. So bear with me for the next little bit on these. I promise that I'm going to do as much as I can to really bump up how much content I can put out on this, because I want to start doing some weird off-meta lineups. And I think a cool idea would be trying to do class disadvantage for a lot of these high-level fights, like maybe Wyvern or something. I know that sounds next to impossible at some of the higher stages, but I'm sure there's a way with certain lineups I could find a way around the disadvantage mechanic a little bit. I know it'll probably still take a long time to clear, but it's a really cool idea for it. I may not have the right heroes for it. I'm sure I need some really specific ones, especially when it comes to finding ways to keep myself alive, because that's the biggest deal. Dealing damage is one thing. It may take forever for me to clear it, but I have to sustain that the whole time. So basically, guys, I've got a lot of ideas going forward. I'm going to try to build some off-meta teams for Arena, off-meta for a lot of content clearing, just so you can see just what is possible in this game. It's just right now, I'm struggling to find the time. So bear with me going forward. I promise I will be making a lot more content as soon as I can get these other series out of the way, and then just slow down with the overall how much I have to do on each game each day. So this will give me a lot more time, and then I can focus more on recording everything that I do, and so I can put out videos like this, and then put out specific videos not just on Sunday for other pieces of content. But enough for the rambling, guys. We're gonna get into what I'm actually showing off. So during this event right now, you can selective summon certain heroes, and they're based on the side story, I believe. So there's a lot of them that you can choose from, but you have to have completed their side story. So right now I had Dear Mentor going, and I finished all the stages on that, used everything I had to buy some extra catalysts, and then swapped to the Shining Star one, because Tamarine is one that I'm going to summon for. So you see me starting the quest here, I end up finishing it, and I select her for the story summon. So right now my main focus is getting as many Covenant summons as I possibly can, so that I can end up pulling her. And I think by the end of the video I had pulled about 100 on her, so I'm 20 away from the guaranteed pity. I would have loved to have hit it earlier, but it is what it is on that. I'm not sure if I keep going to trying to get more pulls for Memory Imprint, but I did pull her artifact as well, the one that's specific with hers. I don't know how good it is for her. There may be better options, But either way, we're getting a lot of good options for fire teams now. Akates is another one that would be really nice so I can get more sustain, because fire team is one that I have definitely neglected. Specifically because I'm going Wyvern team, so I had an Icewind built. Vildred is built for my Forest team, plus Falconer Clury, though I have taken her gear off, so I need to adjust her a little bit. But I've got a lot of good pulls for both of those, and I have some really nice ones for arena and regular content for fire. I just have to get to the point where I've got a very nice sustainable team there to work with. But I pull Rod of Amaryllis, and I don't know how good this one but it seems really good if I can get a hero that has a couple of non-damage attack skills that get a lot of speed. Maybe I could use it with Angelic Montmorency, because both of hers are non-attack, aside from her skill 1, so potentially that could really come in handy for keeping my team alive a little better, because right now she is an excellent tank. I have her on the front lines. I have Mui in the lineup so that when she gets attacked, every time his passive is off cooldown, he's going to get an extra attack in. And another thing I love is that the free 11 summon came back for this, so I'm getting free 11 summons in the regular Covenant banner every single day, which is really cool. And I think I've already pulled multiple of the new heroes that they released, the new 3 stars. I don't know if this is one of them or if this is one I just pulled, but there are a few that got added, and I think I already have at least 2 or 3 of maybe 5 or 6 they added. I'm not sure. I may have more than that, but interesting to try to go forward and try them out. I hadn't really looked at their kit so much because there are so many different ones that I'm planning to work on and planning to incorporate at some points. Now, I did complete a lot of the things for the Wyvern Hunt event, where I got Secret initially. I've nearly completed it. There's a couple things that I just haven't finished doing, so I can get a couple Mulligoras from that, which will be real nice. But one big thing is that I'm now going into the 3rd level difficulty of the Automaton Tower. And I don't know if it's called hard or not. I think it might have been hard, but the ramp up in enemies' health and damage is definitely noticeable. So the first 2, easy and normal, were really not that bad. I completed them fairly easy, and of course getting good devices to choose from is paramount if your combat power or your overall just ability to slay these enemies is kind of low, or if it's kind of on the average end, then you know it's going to struggle. And as you see here, this is floor 14. I stopped after this one because I'm noticing a huge surge in just how long it takes to take out these enemies. It becomes very long fights, and I did this, and as much as I'd love to show the full run through on the Automaton Tower, it is very long, and mainly because, like I've said before, there are so many things I have to work on still. Gear-wise, I'm lacking a lot, and I've talked about it many times, but it is an important focus and something that I try to do every day. But also, I am very low on gold for the first time, because while I would get low before, maybe get down to 2 million or something, it would pop back up to like 6 or 7 in no time. But with all the gear and all the upgrades that I'm doing, I'm finding that I'm burning through it way too fast. And also, I do a lot of going through the Butler shop to try to get Covenant and Mystic summons, which I have to say has been absolutely amazing, especially for the selective summon for Tamarine, because I've probably done it enough in, I think I spent 600 or 700 of the crystals to get like 3 different 10 summons for it, which is really good. I would say that rate is probably better than average. I'm not sure. I did talk to a guild member, which was funny because while I'm doing well with mine and getting Mystic summons as well, I've gotten plenty of them, they said they did 900 crystals worth of rerolls, or Skystones, rather, and only got enough for like 1 10 pull, which is very rough. That's gotta be some insanely bad luck, but it can happen. Do keep in mind, though, for anyone that may get frustrated with that whole mechanic, do keep using the Butler, because it's going to be better overall, since you can also get good gear depending on your level. You also get mystic summons. It's just better overall than buying straight out of the Skystone shop for the guaranteed 10 pull, because that is $9.50, and I'm gonna be honest with you, most of the time you're going to do a lot better in the Butler by going on that. Even if you're insanely unlucky, like my guild member was, you're still probably going to do better than the $9.50. So just keep doing it. It may be frustrating at times. I know it's not the greatest thing to see it just never pop up, but just stick with it. It will be better in the long run. But we clear floor 14, we get some good rewards. Automaton Tower honestly has some really nice stuff, especially the gear drops, because anything you can get that is guaranteed to roll certain substats is always going to be more useful than just trying to grind out some others. So maybe putting forth the time, especially for like arena stuff. I do like the pieces of equipment you can buy out of arena. Now, they may not have the greatest rolls overall for certain heroes, but they're going to be better than a majority of the stuff that you get, because rolling for gear, you're going to want to reforge with some of the stuff that I'll talk about later, but rolling for gear for the most part is very, very time consuming in this game. So anything you can get that's guaranteed, and also one of the reasons that I'm showing lab, because when you full 100% clear an area of the lab, you get a piece of gear, and some of them are really good. The one I'm doing currently gives me speed gear that I think is at level 75. I could be wrong, it may be a little lower, maybe a little higher, but it's very important that I do these, not just for getting closer to the raid part of it, the Azamachus, I think is how you pronounce it, but just getting those gear pieces and getting the 100% so I can guarantee that I have a really nice speed set for one of my heroes. And this may be things that I've talked about before. I may be reiterating most of what I say, but do keep in mind, I do learn new things as I'm going forward, and while I do try to do a lot of the grinding on my phone outside of recording, I felt like there was a lot more for me to do in this next one that I should probably record it, and honestly for the whole benefit of the viewing pleasure, because I think that lately the Beyond the Free-to-Play series has been pretty lackluster. I'm never happy with my own work in general, but I just feel like I'm letting people down in that sense, because I don't show enough. I kind of just do some progression and show some key moments, but I really need to. So I think for the most part I'm going to go back and try to do it like it was in the original experience and show you, maybe not day to day, I'll just do it through a weekly basis, but show more of what I'm doing so you get an idea of how I'm trying to improve each day. Now, Zeratul wasn't a hard fight. He was the main boss of this one, and I get the full 100% clear here, get a piece of the speed gear, and it's going to help tremendously, because not only is it part of a speed gear, it has guaranteed speed roll on the first part of it. And it's level 78, so that's even better than what I was saying before at 75. So we go in, we use more summons, try to get Tamarine again. Once again, don't get her. All my luck that you saw early on has disappeared for sure, because I have been very, very unlucky when it comes to pulls lately. I've been doing a lot of screens of just 3 stars, so a bit rough. One thing that was funny here, Area 1, I somehow only got 99% explored, and I look and I didn't see any chests that I'd missed, I didn't see any areas that I missed. Apparently, it's just something small that I missed, I guess, but nothing was gray, everything was blue, and it showed that I traveled through, so I'm really gonna have to go in and potentially use more than one Labyrinth token, which feels horrible. It just gives me the worst feeling. But skipping through that, we're on Abyss. So this is floor 62. I hadn't really made any progress because Sez was giving me very big problems, and so I had to go with, because I didn't have enough damage, I had to go with a team that did basically no debuffs. Now, I did think of the fact that potentially I could put multiple on because he only gets one of them off per turn, but one of them has to be unhealable and it has to not get purged. So I think the safest way for me was to just make sure I didn't use Furious' skill 3 and nobody else is really going to put a debuff on him, unless Fierce's skill 1 procs the burn. But beating him after like fighting for like 12 minutes something, I go into the next floor, super easy. That one's really fast, and also they had changed unrecorded history in the last like week, so I had full completed it beforehand, but right before this came out, so I could get this to get the double, or the extra rewards anyway. But it gives 800 Sky Stones, 1,000,000 gold, 8 Molagora, and then it also gives you 9 Epic Catalysts that you can choose from, and 3 Gold Transmit Stones. So very little work for some very, very good rewards, so I was extremely happy about that. But one thing I'm going to end on when talking about is the Enraged Blazing Emissary. So I hadn't done hard mode of this yet because I had been struggling a lot. I looked into what the boss actually does in each phase, and so that made it a lot easier, but I still had a lot of problems in the overall damage because I had to spread across 9 different heroes. So I had to make sure that each one has enough gear to survive it. And as you can see, I have 76k gold up at the top. So I had adjusted some pieces on Flan, got her ready. Furious, I gave him a little bit of a buff. Sigrid, Crozet I'm using at the end, in the middle part of the squad there, but he's only level 5, so he doesn't really do anything. I'm just putting him in there just because, I guess. But I eventually do get him down, though it was a lot of work because I had tried a few different ways and kept failing and getting close over and over again. And I'm trying not to attack the turtle, though it probably is a good idea. I was hoping to burst him down before I really had to take too much damage, but we ended up surviving anyway. Angela gave just enough survivability, even with not that great gear and not that leveled up overall. So the first phase I got through, I was low, probably everybody was half or very close to being knocked out. But we get it out of the first phase, so it switches to the second team. And the second team was a little more rough. I think overall, you really need somebody that can purge buffs or just overall do enough damage to take him out very quickly. Karen does a lot, but the problem is the gear that I have on her is very bad. It's kind of placeholder at the moment. I can basically guarantee that she crits as long as she doesn't have elemental disadvantage, but she just doesn't do that much damage for me right now. With really good gear, she can be a astronomically hard-hitting hero and can do some really, really good things, but I'm just not there yet. That's the main thing. I talk about it multiple times, but gear is the big problem with my account currently, and also running into the gold problem, but that can be solved as I'm farming gear. Now, as you can see, Angelic Montmorency, in the gear I have her in right now, is nigh unkillable in most locations. She tanks so hard. You have to hit her multiple times with crits in a row without the team being able to go and her being able to go, or she just heals herself back up. There is no problem there. But all in all, I think I did decent. This is the lowest difficulty after all. 720k recommended power, but that's spread through 3 different teams of 3, so realistically, each one of mine being less than 300k made it a little harder, especially when Secret is my big damage dealer mainly for this class. As you see, hitting about 40k right there and finishing it off. So I had a really strong team at the end. Angelic kind of saved the second run, and Angelica and herself saved the first run with that, but I will be working on it, getting better, and getting these modification gems are very cool because you can actually change pieces of gear. But guys, I'm going to try not to drag this video out any further. This has been The Last Musketeer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.